Dhikr can polish a hardened heart. This shows just how important dhikr is for the heart and how important dhikr is in our daily lives. The munafiqun are the worst extreme of people who are far from the remembrance of Allah and people who don't have taqwa. But how about believers? How about people who do the dhikr? Just 28 also talks about the many distractions there are in this dunya that can lead people away from the remembrance of Allah. In Surah Munafiqun, ayah 9, Allah talks about the believers and says, O you who believe, let not your wealth and your children divert you from the remembrance of Allah. This ayah is not saying not to accumulate wealth, not to work, not to spend time with your kids and show love to your kids. It is saying that these things can also, if used wrong, be a fitna. They can turn you away from the remembrance of Allah. Because of course we have obligations and responsibilities, but none of these obligations and responsibilities are more important than the obligations that we have for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah tells us the story of the man who let money and children carry him away from the dunya, from the duty of Allah, in the next ayah, Allah tells us the first words that he said when he passed away, when he died, the first words that he said, my Lord, if only you delayed me for a short while, I would give charity and be one of the righteous. Out of all the things he wished that he did, pray more salah, memorize more Quran, the first thing he said was to give charity, was to give sadaqah. That is because a lot of us spend our lives and surround our lives against making money, around making money. That's our priority. But when you give sadaqah, you're doing the opposite. You're spending that hard work money for the sake of Allah. So that's the first thing that he wished that he would do. In Surah Al-Jumu'ah, there's a perfect example of wealth being a distraction. In ayah 9, O you who believe, when the call to prayer is proclaimed on Friday, hasten to the remembrance of Allah and leave trade. That is better for you, if only you knew. So this command is telling us to leave our responsibilities, to leave our work, to leave our duties, and to pursue the remembrance of Allah and to pursue Jumu'ah prayer. And that is more important for us than that time that we could have spent working and that we could have spent doing our responsibilities. So this shows us that when we have the choice in between the remembrance of Allah and our work and our wealth, to choose Allah. In that ayah in Surah Jumu'ah, he tells us a story of a time when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is giving a khutbah and he's standing on his minbar and he's speaking during Jumu'ah, and a caravan comes into the city. People start leaving his Jumu'ah, people start leaving his khutbah to go towards the caravan to see what they're selling, because it's part of their work, it's part of their trade. But this is why Allah revealed this ayah. He tells us to leave work and to leave money, because that time that we're going to remember Allah for the sake of Allah and leaving what we think is better for us in that moment is actually better for us in the akhirah and in the long term. In the next ayah of Surah Jumu'ah, Allah tells us that when the prayer has concluded, disperse within the land and seek the bounty of Allah and remember Allah often so that you may succeed. Allah wants us to take advantage of the opportunities He's blessed us with. He provided for us so many opportunities, whether it's school, whether it's a job, whether it's work, whether it's the desires that we have in this dunya, hobbies, sports. He wants us to pursue these opportunities. However, He wants us to prioritize our obligations to Allah first and to pursue the remembrance of Allah and then pursue the opportunities that He has given us. In Surah At-Talaq, Allah gives people who are struggling with the distraction in this dunya and people who are struggling with anything hope. In ayah 2 and 3, Allah says, whoever has taqwa of Allah, He will make for him a way out, and He will provide for him from where he does not expect. And whoever relies upon Allah, then He is sufficient for him. These ayahs establish a direct relationship between taqwa and success. And that taqwa relieve difficulty from us and provide for us beyond how we can imagine. We won't even know where these provisions will come from. This correlation shows us that having trust and consciousness in Allah is more important to our success than any tangible action or effort that we can do towards that thing. what comes first is taqwa and remembrance in Allah throughout that act. He continues in ayah 4, and whoever has taqwa of Allah, He will make his matter easy. Simply having taqwa sets us up for success. Having consciousness in Allah makes things easy for us. So what can we do to avoid this trap in the distraction of Allah, the distraction from Allah, and the distractions of this dunya? So the main one was wealth. Always keep ourselves busy with the remembrance of Allah. Make it a priority. So when you have the choice in between Allah and the pursuit of wealth, choose Allah. Don't be too worried about wealth. Trust in Allah and remember that He is the provider and He provides. Allah reassures those who trust in Him. When they're going through hard times, whoever fears Allah, Allah will make for him a way out and provide for him in a way that they cannot imagine. Allah will make your situation easy. And even when money is tight, even when there's not a lot of money, don't be afraid to spend in the way of Allah. وقولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله